Hello everyone and happy Friday, happy Good Friday. I hope you are all enjoying your day. Super excited to lead another yoga class for you guys this week. Sorry I didn't get to one on Wednesday, but we had a bit of a busy week, surprisingly, from staying at home. And so I'm excited to lead one today. So if you're celebrating Good Friday today, I know it's kind of a sobering day. So my goal with this class is just to offer you a nice flow where you can just move your body and work through any tension, especially in your hips, which is where we tend to hold emotions. So I hope that you can enjoy just some pleasantness and a time to just smile and enjoy today a little bit. And if you're looking for a way to celebrate Good Friday and Easter, let me know. My church, Frontline Community Church here in Germany, is doing a really wonderful walk through the day today and a service this evening, as well as, of course, services on Sunday. So if you'd like details on that, I would love to be able to share it with you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started because it's right at 1 o'clock. I didn't give you much time to get on today. I'm so sorry. But we'll kind of ease into it. So if you're hopping on a few minutes late, just join in anytime. All right, we're going to start in child's pose today. So you can go ahead and head to your mat and find a child's pose with your toes touching. And if you'd like to see how it feels, make your knees as wide as your mat. That will help you sink in and already start opening up your hips. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can always bring your knees in or any other modified posture you'd like. Okay, here we go. Oh, one last thing is there is no music today. I kind of got caught for playing music on a recorded video that I don't own the rights to, and I definitely understand that. So I've created a Spotify account. I've had it for years, but I make all my playlists on there, but I wanted to make them public and open to you guys. So if you want music during your practice today, go ahead and go to Spotify, search for marissa.cecchi, that's C-E-C-I, and then find the 50-minute Vinyasa Flow or Facebook Live, 50-minute Facebook Live for hips. And that'll be a perfect 50-minute playlist for this class. Just start it right when you hit child's pose, and it'll carry you through the class. It starts off slow, it picks up some momentum in the middle, it has some fun, playful songs, and then it ends slow. So I'm super sad that I can't play it and have you hear it at the same time. Doing yoga in silence is not necessarily my favorite thing in the world, but I'm doing it for you guys, so I hope you can have some music playing on your own in the background. Okay, to child's pose. So again, those toes are touching, your knees are nice and wide, and just sink down into the mat. Really stretch your arms out so you can get that full stretch all the way down your back and your arms, and just let your forehead, if that's accessible, just collapse onto the mat. So let your forehead really rest. This should be a full resting posture, even though you might be reaching your arms and really stretching some things. Try to relax into it. Our flow today is going to just kind of pop from one pose to another. So if you're more experienced, I hope you enjoy the ride. If you're newer to yoga, just do what you can. If you skip something, or if you miss something, or if you modify something, that's absolutely perfect. All right, so coming to your child's pose, take a few deep breaths here. On your next inhale, come to your tabletop position. And take a few cat-cows. As you inhale, roll your shoulders back and down, gaze gently ahead. Try not to crane your neck here. Exhale, tuck your tailbone. Go ahead and gently engage your core as you scoop it in towards you. Inhale, releases down. Exhale, tuck everything under. Really pressing into the back. Inhale, release. Exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Inhale, finding stillness. We're going to modify into a fun side plank variation. So walk your hands forward just slightly so you can bring your hips forward. And then open your left foot like you're opening a gate. Plant your right foot on the mat. Come onto your left hand and open up into a side plank. Good, so you should already feel just a little firing here in the obliques. You can keep the modification. You can also keep your hand on your hip if lifting is not serving you. You can keep your gaze down for balance. Bring hands back to center, coming back onto your knees. Other side, open your left foot like a gate. Coming to rest on your shin. Left foot presses, your right foot opens. Left foot presses into the mat, lift your left hand high. Really coming out of that right shoulder, feeling your obliques fire up, and then coming back to center. Now do that one more time, or if you'd like to come up onto your feet, you can roll onto your feet for a full side plank. And then coming back to center, you can come onto your feet for another side plank. So this should just be really fluid and gentle, even though it's super strong. Coming back to plank, plant your knees back into your tabletop. Bring your knees together, press your right heel back. Lift, root your tailbone first. Squeeze your belly button in and then lift that leg behind you. Give it 10 nice pulses. 8, 7, keep your breath flowing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you can leave your hands planted, or if your balance feels okay, lift your left arm straight in front of you so you're reaching through your fingertips and your toes. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, reaches. Exhale, in. Inhale, reach long. And you come in on your exhale, really round your spine like you're in your cat stretch. Inhale, lengthen, go for 2 more. Exhale, in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, in. Inhale, lengthen. Hand comes down, bend your leg, and just take 5 pulses like you're trying to put your footprint on the sky. So you're making a 90-degree angle with your knee, and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, shake out your hips or your wrists or anything that feels a little tight. We don't want to be clenching or being overly tight. Good, your knees come back together. Press your left heel back and press into that calf. Really give it a nice stretch. And then as you root through your tailbone, scoop through your core and lift that heel up behind you. Again, working on that balance. Both glutes are fired up. One's lifting, one's supporting. So just feel that and pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Test your balance. Maybe extend your right hand. Exhale as you squeeze in, scoop and round your spine. Inhale all the way out. Exhale, round. Inhale, out. Exhale, round. Inhale, out. Exhale, round. Inhale, out. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. Plant that right hand. Bend your left knee, so it's at a 90-degree angle, and then 5 footprints on the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw that knee back in. Toes touch, knees go wide. Take a child's pose one more time, really reaching long. 3 deep breaths. On your 4th inhale, come back through tabletop, bringing your knees back to center. Curl your toes, lift your hips up and back, finding your first down dog. Nice and gentle. Feel free to walk your heels, wiggling your weight into one heel and then the other. You can even push your hips side to side. Good. And then we're going to take a little twist like we did in our side plank. So bring your toes about hip width apart, and I say toes because you don't have to be on your full foot, you can be on your toes. And then rotate your heels to the right. So you're coming to that outer edge of the right foot, the inner sole, but keep your hands and chest planted and kind of push back into that right hip. So your right hip is sinking, you're getting a side stretch, kind of push into it, and then come back to center. And then we'll take the left, so let your heels fall over to the left, stretching through your right foot, your right side. You can keep your right leg straight or bent. Left leg is almost certainly bent, just kind of taking that twist. coming back to center. Good. Now we'll move into our sun salutation. So gazing up at your hands, you can tiptoe, you can step, or you can bend your knees and hop your feet into your hands. Every time it's your choice, whatever you like to do. Inhale, you can change it up every time too. Inhale into your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up, coming to standing. Interlace your fingers, making, I'm realizing I need to move my camera up a little bit. That's okay. So interlacing your fingers like Charlie's Angel's hand, reach your arms up. And as you inhale, reach up and over to your right, but root down into your left foot. So tuck your tailbone gently, root through that left foot, and reach your fingertips towards the sky. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, reach over to the left. Tuck your tailbone, root through your right foot, and feel that stretch in your right side body. Also feeling your core activated and supporting you. Inhale, back to center. Open your arms like a cactus, coming into a gentle back bend, gaze at the sky. Inhale, back to center. Hands come to touch. Exhale into your chair. I gotta say, this is weird without music. I hope you have yours going. So holding your chair here, trying to get the straightest spine possible. You might find that you're arching. You might find that you're tucking. So feel free to use your hand to find where you're at. Seal your belly button into your spine. And maybe sink a little lower. Using your breath. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. You can step or jump back to your plank. And if you'd like, maybe bring your knees down just for the first one, just to get warmed up. You can lower down to your belly and do a gentle upward facing dog or cobra. Or if you're ready, you can take the full chaturanga, a half push up, curl your toes, lift your chest, legs and thighs up off the mat. Curl your toes, lift up and back, downward facing dog. It is also totally your prerogative to skip that any time. So you don't ever have to do that chaturanga if it's not serving you. Gaze at your fingertips, step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up, coming to standing. Interlace your fingers. Maybe try the opposite interlace. It will feel weird. So put your other pinky at the back. Good. Inhale to reach to the left first this time. Root your tailbone. Press into that right foot. Inhale, back to center. Exhale all the way over. Press into your left foot. Inhale, center. Exhale into your back bend here, cactusing your arms. You could really open up your chest. Inhale, center. Palms to touch. Exhale to your chair pose. You can also leave your arms straight overhead. Really whatever is going to serve you. Use that, scoop that belly button in. Maybe sink a little lower. Inhale. Exhale, sink a little lower. Inhale, hold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back to your plank. Now, if you're feeling good, you can leave your legs all the way up. You can always, always, always bring knees down. So feel free to keep that in mind. If you're feeling good in your full plank, rock it out. Take your chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. 3 cleansing breaths here. Inhale, gaze at your toes. Exhale, walk your feet or jump them to your hands. Forward fold, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, bring your toes to touch. Inhale, reach all the way up. Palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center, coming to your chair. Slowly we're going to take a one-legged chair. I'm going to turn and face you so you can really see it, but you can stay where you're at. Start to shift your weight into your right foot, peel your left foot off the mat. You may just want to hold and hover right here and practice this balance, totally fine. But to enter into a hip stretch that might feel really good, you can bring that ankle over your front knee and open up your left knee. Keep your left heel, the heel on top, very flexed, very active. And then you can keep your hands in prayer or bring hand to knee and foot gently and sink back. So you're gonna sink deeper, sending your hips back in space. Maybe your chest comes forward and maybe you start to feel that stretch in your top leg. Whichever leg you started with is fine. We're about to do both. So supporting yourself, breathe, allow your shoulders to melt from your ears. Just gaze at the floor in front of you for balance. Slowly start to come up, plant your foot, and just take a forward fold to reset. So just dangle your head and your shoulders here. Maybe shake your head gently, yes and no. Really small, gentle movements just to loosen your spine. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, sink down into that chair pose. And then we'll start to bring the weight into our left foot. So start peeling your right foot off the mat. Just very gently, maybe you just flex that foot and hover right here. This is doing a lot. If you want to bring that right leg up and over, get your ankle region on your knee, and then open up your top knee, your right knee, maybe gently placing your hands, and sink your hips back, coming into your one-legged chair. I love this pose. It feels so good on your hips. It's a challenging balance. Keep your breath flowing. And then slowly bring your hands back to prayer. See if you can lower your foot back into chair before you collapse forward into your forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back to your plank. Again, you can always skip it or come to your knees, chaturanga. Curl your toes, cobra, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. And just for fun, we're gonna try some donkey jumps. I think if you've never tried to jump forward when you move into your sun salutations, or maybe you have and you're like, that was hard and I don't really understand it, let's practice some of these just to play. So, look at your toes for just a second. Come up on your tippy toes as far as you can, and then bend your knees, sending your hips back. Now gaze forward at your hands and see if you can jump off the mat. Maybe you barely come up, half an inch. If you come off more than half an inch, try to guide your heels towards your bottom. I'm just gonna tuck my shirt in for a moment. You may wanna do the same so it's not up around your face. So up on your toes, bend your knees, sink your hips back, and launch. And maybe you find just a second of air time. So try a few more of those. This is just for fun, just to see if you can kind of get up on those hands. Keep breathing. This is a lot of cardio. Good. And then settle back into your downward facing dog. Bring your toes to touch. Lift your right heel into the sky, really sending it as high as you can. Straighten that leg, flex your foot. Squeeze your knee into your nose and send it forward on your mat. So now you're in your low lunge position. And we're gonna take a nice stretch here, so we'll let that heart rate come back down. Wiggle your foot to the outside edge of your mat. Let your right shoulder come to the inside of your right leg. So now we're in lizard stretch. This might feel really good right here, or if you want to release into it, you can lower your knee and flip your foot over. Just make sure that your knee is over your ankle. Sometimes we get a little excited that this will happen, and that's not very happy for your knee. So wiggle that foot back forward. Make sure your knee's right over your ankle. Your shoulders are on the inside. You can stay up. This is a great time to use a block for support if you want to lower to your elbows, but maybe you can't make it all the way down. The block is great. It brings the floor up to you. Cool. So just breathing here. A couple things you can do here too to access different areas of your hip. You can take your right foot, and if you imagine your toes are pointing at 12 o'clock, you can open them up to 2 or 3 o'clock. Just make sure your knee goes with it. Opening it up to the side. That will stretch a different part of your hip, or bringing it back to center, you can just let your knee fall open. So your toes are still facing 12 o'clock, but now you're looking at the bottom of your foot instead of the top. Slowly, if you are reaching forward or your knee is down, wiggle back to center. Everyone put your knee down. And then shift your weight back. Hips come back, front leg gets as straight as you can. Flex your foot, not overlocking this knee, but just straight. Keep support here. This is another great time for blocks if you can't quite reach the floor. Front leg is straight. Shine your heart towards your foot. So you can reach over here, and there are some benefits to that, but for now, let's shine our heart and really keep sending those hips back like we did in the chair pose. And breathe. And then walking back forward. Plant your hands. Curl your back toes so you're back in your lunge, and then find your plank. If you'd like to take your chaturanga, you may. Inhale on your upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, give left heel up to the sky. And squeeze your knee into your chest, swinging that leg all the way through until you're in your low lunge. And then wiggle your left foot to the outside of the mat. So we're going to come back into our lizard pose. Left shoulder comes to the inside. And then if you'd like, you can plant your right knee, curl your toes under, and walk as close, collapse as close to the mat as you feel comfortable. So you can stay up on your hands. You can come elbows to block, or maybe even elbows all the way to the mat. Totally depends on your own hip, groin, hip flexor flexibility. Again, you can play with that left foot. So if you want to open up your toes and knees to 3 o'clock, see how that feels. And bring it back to 12 o'clock and let your knee collapse out. So you are kind of looking at the bottom of your foot. And then slowly coming back up if you were collapsed forward. Wiggle that foot back to the center of your mat. And again, if you'd like to use blocks, you can, or just keep your hands on the floor. Take a second to make sure everything's center and aligned. Like if this foot got wiggly, or if your hips got tweaked a certain way, bring them all back to center. And then send your hips back over your back leg. Flex your front foot, straighten that front leg. Doesn't matter how deep or how far back you are over this knee, as long as you feel balanced and supported. Straighten that front leg. Again, shining your heart, pretending there's a string attached from your toe to your heart. And as your heart pulls closer, your toe pulls closer together. And slowly walk your hands forward, planting your hands on your mat. Curl your back toes under and step back to your plank. Take your chaturanga if you like. Otherwise, we'll just meet you in downward facing dog. Bringing your toes to touch. Float your right heel into the sky. Squeeze it through to your nose. Bring that foot to the floor, finding your low lunge. Find your balance, and then when you're ready, reach your arms all the way up to your crescent lunge. Holding here for a few breaths. If you'd like to challenge your balance and open up your shoulders a little bit, take some swimming moves, like you're doing the backstroke. Trying to keep your hips stable. And reverse, like you're swimming forward. I find sometimes when I can find movement in my crescent lunge, my legs cooperate a little longer. Bring your arms back up to center. Open up warrior two. So plant your back leg, sink deep into that front lunge. Press your shoulders away from your ears. And then pretend like you're trying to squeeze your mat in on itself, like you're trying to crumple up the middle. Nothing will actually move, but that will help you really activate your inner thighs. Slowly start to straighten your right leg. We're going to move into triangle pose. So if this stance is a little too wide for you to get a nice wide warrior two, wiggle that back foot in, and you may want to block on the inside of your front foot. So if you have a block and you want it, go ahead and grab it there. Coming back. Send your hips backwards and reach your arms forward, 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 forward as far as you can. And when you can't go any farther, open them up to 6 and 12 o'clock. You can always bring this hand to your hip. You can gaze up at your top hand or down at your supporting leg. Front leg is straight, but not locked. So if it's like locked, step back, gentle it up just a little bit. Really reaching your spine long, pretending you're standing in between two panes of glass. And you don't want to touch either side. So you want to try to keep your shoulders stacked one over the other, your hips stacked one over the other, arms reaching within those two panes. And then just putting a gentle bend in your front knee, float all the way back up. Now you can bend back into your warrior two or keep that knee straight, reverse your warrior. And then cartwheel your hands all the way down. Find your plank. If you like, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Always come back to your breath here. Inhale your left leg up to the sky. Flexed foot, lots of energy. Send it all the way through to your low lunge. Find your balance, square off your hips, engage that back leg, and lift. Again, you can always bend your back leg. You can always straighten and shallow up your stance. You can always bring hands to hips. So there's a lot of ways to make a pretty advanced posture, like crescent lunge, advanced when done properly, a lot more accessible depending on where you're at. So if you'd like to take those arms, start to backstroke. Again, squeezing your belly button in, stabilizing through your core. And reverse, swimming forward. Bringing both arms up. Before we open up, warrior two. So your back leg is parallel to the back, your back foot is parallel to the back of your mat, pressing into it. Meanwhile, squeezing your feet towards one another, really activating your inner thighs, making sure your shoulders are directly over your hips. So you may be slightly forward, you may be reversed here, shoulders right over hips, and reach. I see some comments popping through, so I'm just going to take a peek real quick. Yay, we just have more watchers. This is great. Stay in your warrior two. Awesome. You can gaze right over your front fingertips to really come back to your focus here. Make sure your front knee is guiding towards your pinky toe, so that will help keep it from collapsing in. That will also help rotate and open up your hips. Slowly straighten your front leg. Again, not locking it, straightening it. So if you're watching the video, you can definitely see the difference between locked and straight. That will just help protect your knee. So if you'd like to wiggle your back foot in just a smidge, you can. If you want to block, bend your knee to get it and come back to your straight leg stance. Start to send your right hip back in space. You can even kind of bring your hand here and kind of gently guide your hip back just to see what that feels like. Go as far as you can with your torso, and then your torso freezes. That's really important. A lot of times we'll kind of crunch over into this position. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your torso where it is and just open up your hands. That's why a block or a water bottle or a child or something underneath you can be really, really helpful, because most times we're not going to get our hand all the way down to our ankle or the floor. If you don't have a block, your hand can come to your thigh. Just be careful it's not overextending that leg. It can come to your shin, and maybe you're super flexible and it comes all the way down to the mat. Again, gaze can be up at your fingertips or down at your supporting leg. If you are using a support, try to lift out of it as much as you can. Will help engage your core. And then putting a gentle bend in your front leg. Slowly float back up, and then you can re-straighten it or sink back down to your warrior two. It's your choice. Flip your palm, reverse your triangle or your warrior. And cartwheel your hands all the way down, finding your plank. Taking that chaturanga if you'd like to. All meeting in our downward dog. Now, if you need a break, go ahead and take a child's pose. Otherwise, you can chill in your down dog for a few deep breaths here. And then we're going to stitch all of that together, minus the lizard stretch. We're going to go from our forward fold, our side stretches, our chair, and mesh that into our lunges. Everything we just did, we're going to stitch together. And it'll be a little faster. One breath, one movement. We won't be holding quite as long. So, if you're in your child's pose, go ahead and lift your hips to the sky, meeting us in downward facing dog. Everyone take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Good. Inhale as you reach, don't reach your foot, gaze at your fingertips and step or hop your feet to your hands. And now that we practice those donkey jumps, maybe you give one a try. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaches all the way up. Clasp your hands. Inhale, reach to the right. That was an exhale. Inhale, now back to center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, open your heart. Inhale, center. Palms come to touch in prayer. Exhale to your chair pose. If you'd like to try one-legged, shift your weight to your right. Bring your left ankle to your right knee and sink back. Inhale, gently lift back out of it and send that foot all the way back until you land in your crescent lunge. So even if you weren't in one-legged chair, just take your left foot and wiggle it back on your mat. Ending in crescent lunge, open up warrior two. Inhale, straighten your knee. You may not need a block for this one. We'll only be there for a second. Exhale, reach. Inhale, hold. Exhale, hold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Reverse your warrior or your triangle. Exhale, cartwheel your hands all the way down. If you'd like to have some fun with it, keep your right leg in the air for your chaturanga for an extra challenge. Downward facing dog. Oh, I wish I knew what song we were on. I hope it's a fun one for these faster movements. Inhale your, gaze at your fingertips.
If you'd like to take that donkey jump, maybe you try to jump and land those feet up in your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up, coming to standing. Other interlace the fingers, so other pinky in front. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, reach to your left. Inhale, up. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, reach back, cactus the arms. Inhale, center. Exhale, chair pose, sinking low. Shifting your weight to your left foot, peel your right foot off. See if you can meet. Inhale, lifts back up. Send that foot to the back of your mat, however way you can or want to, meeting back in our crescent lunge. Open up to warrior two. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, collapse over into your warrior, your triangle. Inhale, coming back up, reverse your warrior. Warrior triangle. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. For an extra challenge, keep that left leg up as you take your chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice work. I hope you enjoyed stitching that all together. Now just take your right foot and bring it forward for a pigeon stretch. So plant your front shin on the mat. Take your left toes back behind you. Sitting up tall, relax your front leg, including your foot. Everything from the waist down is totally relaxed, as much as possible. And then you can stay right here, or you can slowly walk your forehead and arms down to the mat. You can always use a block here on your forehead to release. Your only objective here is to relax and release as much as possible. And slowly start to come back up. Now to have some fun with it, plant your hands. We're going to move through three-legged dog and into a wild thing, or flip your dog. If that seems totally new or inaccessible to you, just meet in downward facing dog. But if you'd like to give it a try, curl your back toes under, really plant your hands because you're about to have a lot of weight into them, and send your right leg all the way up and back into your three-legged dog. And then opening up your hips, coming onto the outside edge of your left foot. See if you can guide your right foot down to the mat and open up into your wild thing or flipped dog. And then slowly coming back over, find your downward facing dog. And then guide your left shin towards the front of your mat, planting your back legs. Flip your toes under and coming up tall to make sure everything is aligned and ready to go before you start to collapse over in any way. And spend some time here just breathing. Try not to let your mind wander. Just release your body. slowly coming up. If you have blocks, get them to the front of your mat now because you may need them in a minute. Firmly plant your hands, curl your back toes under, and send that left leg to the sky. Again, you can stop right here, maybe meet us in down dog. Otherwise, start to open up your hip, gaze under your right armpit, bend your left knee, and see if you can see your toes as you slowly guide them down to the mat. Catch yourself as gently as possible, and then lift up and back into your wild day. Just as slow and fluidly, try to flip back over into your downward facing dog. Now we have one more little fun sequence to try here. So if you're still with me, hang on. If you need a child's pose, take it and just join in. Bring your toes to touch at the back of your mat. Lift your right leg high. Swing it through, but this time don't go quite as far. Maybe it just comes right under your midline. Plant your back heel down. So you're almost prepping for warrior one, but we're actually headed to pyramid. Try to square off your feet as much as possible. And then either using hands on blocks or hands on your thigh, your shin, slowly start to straighten that front leg. Again, we want it straight but not locked. Coming into a brief pyramid stretch here to just open up that hamstring even more. And then walk your hands to the front. I'll actually do this without blocks because I imagine most people don't have them. Walk your hands forward as you peel your left foot off the mat and flex your toes and see if they're pointing towards the mat. The tendency is to have them be open. You really want to try to close that off. That'll really get into your right hamstring, believe it or not. Bending your leg gently, see if you can float up through warrior three. Hands can come to prayer or reach in front of you, yogi choice. And then coming to stand upright, swing your left leg through, try to avoid the floor if possible, and squeeze it up. So now we're in a balanced posture. We're gonna move through that a few times. So straighten that leg, swing it like a pendulum, and either reach your hands to the mat or stay in warrior three. Again, your choice, whatever looks good, feels good, and we're gonna keep going. Swing it through and lift, inhale. Exhale, swing it through. Hands can stay in warrior three or come to your mat. Inhale, reach it all the way up. Exhale, swing it through. This is the last one. Inhale, bring it all the way up. Holding there, moving into tree pose. So you can bring this foot straight down to your calf or your ankle, or if you like, you can grab it with your hand and place it on the inside. I'm gonna face you really fast just so you can see. If you're a little newer, tree pose. Your hands can stay in prayer or reach out long or grow your branches. It's really up to you. Okay, now I'm gonna turn back. So stay where you are. Enjoy your tree pose. Now for, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm just gonna modify. For a little support, release your foot from tree pose, but see if you can send it to the back of your mat. And then plant your foot and turn your toes to the side of your mat. You want them parallel or slightly pigeon-toed, so not turned out. Arms come wide. If you're not sure where your feet go, they go right under your wrists or hands. And then slowly hinge forward into your Prasarita stretch. If headstand is part of your practice, this is a really fun way to get into it. You just plant your hands, plant your head, bring your knees, and slowly come up. Otherwise, just enjoy your Prasarita stretch. Good, slowly coming out of it. And in your Prasarita, you just want to relax over your legs. I know this feels like, wow, I used to do this in gym class when I was little. What good does this do? Oh, so many things. It's stretching the outside of your leg, it's stretching your groin, it's releasing your back. It's doing a lot. So enjoy that stretch. And then inhale to a half lift. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips, come all the way up, and then open up your toes to the corners of your mat. And I'll do this again facing you, but for now, good to look in my back. Open your arms like a star. Exhale, actually I'm gonna flip to turn you really quick, but just stay where you're at. Exhale as you sink down into a squat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Sink as low as you want. Exhale. Inhale. Last one, stay there. See if you can lift your right toe off the mat, coming onto your tiptoes. Put it down. See if you can lift your left. Put it down. See if you can lift both. Put it down. Inhale, up. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down, coming to your lunge. We'll meet in down dog. So just come straight to down dog. And we'll go to the other side. So take your left foot, rise it to the sky. Swing it all the way through. Planting that foot maybe in a more shallow stance. Take your back leg, plant your heel, and then try to square off your hips. As you do so, start to straighten your front leg, but be really mindful of your hamstrings. So as your leg straightens, your torso lifts until you're in a comfortable stretching posture. We might just be going over 2 minutes. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. And then slowly start to walk your feet towards the front of your mat, lifting your right leg to the back. Now squeeze your right leg in because you're going to need it. Float your hands to prayer, coming into your warrior 3. Flex your foot, swing your leg through like a pendulum, lift your front knee, your right knee in front of you. Moving through that a few times, exhale as you send it through. You can stay right here in warrior 3 or hands down to the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, last one forward. Inhale, lift. And bring that knee to tree. You can put your foot on your top of your thigh like I just have, or as always, plant your foot on your calf or your ankle to modify. And then lifting your foot off your leg, bend your front leg. See if you can send this to the back of your mat, and then point your foot, opening your toes, wiggling, moving. That transition might not feel as graceful as you might like, and that's okay. We're going to come into our Prasarita on the other side. Arms wide, legs wide, toes facing forward. Exhale over into your stretch. Now, a few options here. I want you to listen to your body and decide what you want. You can stay right here in Prasarita, planting your arms maybe on a block or something. You can go into your headstand again if you'd like. But if you'd like a twist, which is what I'll demonstrate, plant your left hand under your nose and take your right hand to your hip. Open up your shoulders and your torso in a twist, but keep a firm hand on that hip. That hip is definitely going to want to lift and shift. So see if you can keep it in place. You're probably not going as far as you want to, but it's going to give you the most effective twist without tweaking your hips here. If you want, you can lift your right leg your right arm. If you lift your right leg, please take a picture. I'd love to see that. Your right hand to the sky. And then slowly lower back down. I feel like I want to try that. Let's see what happens. Right hand under your nose, left hand to hip, coming into your twist. Gazing, letting your shoulder and your chest and your face, your gaze open up. And then if you like, left arm to the sky. Again, the tendency is to want to go into that hip to really open up your chest, but try to keep them stable. Exhale, hands down. Gently bend your knees, hands come to your hips, coming all the way back up. Cartwheel your hands all the way down, coming to your downward facing dog. And then you can jump to seated, or you can just lower down to your knees and come to a seated position. We're going to move into fire log. This will be our last stretch, and we'll really just wind it down fast. But this one is great for your hips. I'm going to explain it first and then give a modification because this can be tricky. So the first thing you want to do is get your front shin aligned parallel to your mat. So the tendency is to have it kind of at an angle. You really want to get it parallel with the edge of your mat. And then take your right leg on top. Either leg will switch. And you want the kind of hollow of your ankle to find the fleshy part of your knee. If your ankle's on your knee, it might hurt. This should be comfortable for your knee and ankle. Maybe not so much for your hips. And then let your other knee guide towards your ankle. So knee on ankle, ankle on knee. If you look down between your legs and you look at your legs, you should see a nice triangle there. Okay, if you're looking down and you're seeing what looks like a pretzel, your legs aren't parallel to your mat. So, fire log. If you're here, release your hands, take a breath, or 2 or 3 or 4, and relax. If you're like, yeah, this is where I'm at, this is what I want you to do. Roll onto your back. Place your, and you can just stay on your back, you won't have to get up again. Place your right ankle on your left knee and reach forward. Doing your figure 4 stretch, interlace your fingers, relax your head, and stretch your hip that way. It's a little less intense, it's much more accessible. But if you are in fire log, this can feel really good. It is going to get just like a little bit of a different spot. So, breathe. We'll just take a few more breaths here, because I know we're basically out of time. Those flows were fun. It took a little longer than I thought, but that's okay. And then we'll release. So you don't hold that one long to feel it as you just experience. So come to like, I like to call this like beach posture, like what you think of at the beach, how you would lay on your towel. And just rotate windshield wiper your knees side to side just to kind of loosen your hips back up. If you're on your back, just squeeze knees into your chest and maybe give some gentle rolls. So we'll switch sides. If you're on your back, plant your feet, put your left foot over your right, reach through, pull to your chest. Most people are familiar with that. If you're doing fire log, place your right knee and ankle down. Take your left ankle on top of your right knee and slowly open up. So this side might feel much tighter for you. It certainly does for me. Maybe it's even looser. Maybe your right side's the tight side. Don't judge it. We're not as symmetrical as we would like to be, and it's okay. We're working towards it. So plant your hand on your, if you want to relax it on your shin and your foot. I like to close my eyes here because otherwise I'm like, I just want to get out of it. So close your eyes and let that calm you. Let that waterfall of calm just trickle all the way down your body and just settle in your hips. Think of that waterfall water just lubricating, opening up your hips. Your top foot is flexed and engaged, if I didn't say that. So is your bottom. So we really want to protect our knees, but your feet and ankles are engaged. Try to relax your hips. Sometimes it's hard to do those things simultaneously, but that's the goal. And coming to a release, plant your feet coming into beach chillin' pose, if I could call it that, and windshield wiper your knees just a little bit. If you're on your back, squeeze your knees into your chest. And everyone meeting on our back, plant your feet, reach your hands, roll all the way back, knees into your chest. Take one more stretch and twist. Reaching your feet up, coming into happy baby. Gentle rocks here if that feels accessible to you. And then let your knees fall all the way over to your right like a little bug. Open your left arm back up. 2 deep breaths here. And then roll back onto your back, coming right back into happy baby. Take a few gentle rocks side to side. Only if that feels good. If it does, rock all the way over to your left side. Let your knees collapse. So kind of think like a little bug. And then open your right arm back up. So we're in our twist here on the other side. 2 nice deep breaths. And then coming back to center. I know we're so over time. If you need to go, of course you can. If you can hang for 2 more minutes, release and relax into your Shavasana. One ankle towards each corner of your mat. Open your palms to the sky. Wiggle your shoulders up underneath so your heart sits on a shelf. Close your eyes and try to completely melt into your mat. We'll stay here for 10 easy breaths. So just count on your own and find some stillness. after your 10th breath, start to wiggle your fingers and toes and take a nice big deep stretch from fingertips to fingers to toes. And then slowly roll onto your side and push yourself up to an easy seated position. Bringing your hands to prayer, finding a nice centering pose at the end of your practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. It was an honor to lead you. I pray that when you leave this space, you can be a blessing to those around you. Namaste. Thank you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for everyone that just tuned in and enjoyed this class. And for those of you who will join in later and enjoy it recorded, I am just so thankful that you're here and that you're spending this time for you on your mat, moving and growing. It's just so important. So thank you for doing that. Hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.